Isn't it so frustrating when results are delayed, yet you've put in all the work?
Hello, my name is Lucy Macridis, and I am voiced by Lucy, your go-to voice for impactful storytelling and dynamic delivery.
Hi, this is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the Bounce Back, Rise Higher series, where I'm helping you create a toolbox to be able to pack some tips in there and use them when you need them. This is episode 5, and it's all about faith in the process. As we're talking about faith in the process and we're looking at results, and you've put in all the hard work, and the results are so delayed, and it tests your patience more than your ability. We've all been here, and we all continue to be here. In fact, some of you are right here at this point. So I'm speaking to you. The question is, where is it that you need to trust the timing? Where is it that you need to trust the timing? Because if we are saying that it is frustrating when results are delayed, yet you've put in all the work, I mean, you've done your due diligence, yet the results are delaying. And from experience at times, the results are never coming through as something positive. You lose out on the deal totally. Yet you have invested time, you've invested money, you've invested relationships, you've invested networks, you've put in your entire energy into it. So if the results are not delayed, maybe they're not even coming into fruition. And all this is frustrating. So when I'm asking you, where do you need to trust timing? You must be like shaking your head and saying, seriously, coach, what timing is there when I have been doing this for the last 5 years and I'm not seeing anything come through? Well, I'm just talking about trusting growth that you cannot measure. In those past 5 years, how can you not measure it? Because the metrics that you are working on are numbers, are dates, are closing of contracts. Yet I will say for you, for sure, you have to have faith in the things that you're learning. You're learning your core values. You're revisiting your core values. You're learning your principles, your ethics. We need to trust the process. And the process is not only about the end game, the outcome. And yes, I'm not belittling or minimizing what it is that you have set out to do. I'm encouraging you that on this journey where we are able to bounce back and rise higher, that we appreciate what goes into this particular process. So we start with trust. And when we start with trust, knowing that there is a process, we know that it's going to run its course. I'd like you to think for a minute here. Whether you hire an Uber to take you from point A to B, whether you are boarding a train that's taking you from point A to B, whether you are boarding a flight that takes you from point A to B, there's a process in all this. Yet you never really think about it because it is a convenience. If you stop to think about every aspect of the process, you have a deeper appreciation for whatever app or booking system that there is, whatever check-in system, whatever review system that there is. You begin to see the beauty of the process. So, and in this point, you have a blind faith that you've not even registered or you're not cognizant of. You board a flight. You have faith that you'll get to where you're going. Yet there's so many other things that are happening in the background that need to get this aircraft up in the air. You are only on this last leg, or maybe the second last leg, of how this aircraft is going to go airborne and take you to where it's going. Faith in the process. Faith in the process. Therefore, trusting growth that you cannot yet measure is important. Waiting emotionally is one of the difficult things that I have experienced, especially when it came to having a deal signed. I remember my first corporate client as a coach took 3 years to sign a contract. I had given up more times than I had faith in the process. But this particular company, when we started out, was a strong international company. Somewhere along the way and in their budget paths and the decisions they had to make, they got sold. So a new company came on board. But because we had already started this process and the same people were on board, we continued the conversation. But the new company had a different vision and mission. I had to adjust what it was that I had. We're already into year 2. Whatever I had quoted by now was outdated. But of course, the new company was not going to hear about it. They were going to honor the process. But it took 3 years, like I said. By the time I got the contract signed, of course, it was an emotionally difficult roller coaster for me. But I was able to get the client. At what cost? These are the ones where I'm saying trusting the growth that you cannot yet measure. Right now, that client has me on a retainer. Our start out was very wobbly and I could not measure the growth. Now I can measure the growth exponentially. So what part are you experiencing this where you need to trust in the timing, but you're feeling emotionally drained and you're not alone? What risks are there out there? Have you looked at it from all the different angles? Should you stay on? Should you fold and leave? Should you forget about it? Should you revisit? Should you pause? These are things that I leave you thinking about. We usually expect immediate evidence in whatever it is that we do, because that's what we are now conditioned to look for. Since I've put in all the energy, all the strength, can it come to an end? As though it is a school system, an education system, where I know I'm going in for my degree, 4 years, and I'll be done in the 4 years. These are the papers I'm going to submit. This is what I'm going to get in the end. Life does not follow that particular path. It intends to, but then life happens. And when life happens, we need to find ourselves in places where we can adjust and trust the system. So staying consistent through the uncertainty is something you must build a muscle on. Staying consistent through the uncertainty is a tip and a tool that we're adding to our box. So how does this faith and trust in the system help you to move along? It allows you to focus on the present while you have your eye on the long game, but focusing on the present. What am I learning about myself? What am I learning about others? What do I need to do in a complementary fashion so that I can be able to have a bigger outcome at the end of the day? What is being presented to me at the table that is surprising me, that I never knew that this was part of my talent pool? I never realized this. Or there's somebody who's been sitting with you and you never realized what their strengths were. But staying consistent has allowed your eyes to open. You see, those continuous things. What comes to my mind right now is a journey that I have taken for my nutritional health. And it's been a couple of years now. And through those years, there's so many things about health that I have learned that I never knew. Things I speak to. I listen to my body better. I now understand when I'm falling ill and what I can say to the doctor with how I'm feeling, because I'm trusting my long-term growth. It's a process. Nutrition does not happen overnight. Before that, I was a diet fan. I was on every fad of a diet that you could think about. So write down one place where you're going to commit to patience in the process. Just write it down, one thing. Don't overcomplicate it. Just write one thing, and I would love to hear back from you. What is that one thing you wrote? And we can walk this journey together. So where do you need trust in timing? You need it in steadiness and trusting that process as it unfolds. Do not rush it. After all, we do not rush a flower in bloom as it opens up and it takes its time. We trust it's going to go into full bloom. Thank you so much for keeping me company in this series. This has been the Bounce Back, Rise Higher series. And I do hope that you've walked away with an amazing toolbox of tips. Until our next series, let us continue to help build one another and be kind to yourself.